want to take the tip of your nose off as you go all the way up top. Just like that. Elbows locked, big reach.
The core exercises are right here that we just did.
Right.
Is that like?
I would say those three exercises are the primary goal of everybody who walks in the door. I have those as a resting place for everybody who walks in the door. The process to get there and the process to do that correctly against a load is really the process of making, fitness junkies healthy and stress resistant so that they can go and do the things they want to do.
Love it. That's awesome. Can't wait to pick your brain.
Yeah.
It's good stuff. So, let's pick some more of that brain of yours.
Yeah.
So, those three movements are the core of functional living, basically, and then performing at a higher level if you're an ultra runner or if you're a bodybuilder or if you're a sport athlete. And I think the more exotic weight training and Instagram training is, we get away from these core exercises.
Absolutely. Makes me nuts.
Yeah. And where CrossFit, I think, has some limitations as well, what you're doing, I think, is really important.
I say every day, are you exercising or are you training? Are you exercising or are you training? Just doing something to bring on a sweat doesn't necessarily mean you're going to train better. Like Bosu balls and battle ropes and, I don't have any of that. The ground is in the same place every time. And if you don't learn to interact with the ground, you're not going to be able to perform at your best. So, you probably saw, what's his name from the Titans recently. Just everyone's talking about the exercise he posted where he's got his hands on a band and he's got a chain around his neck and his feet are on a ball and he's doing push-ups.
Oh, is it The Rock? No, not The Rock.
No, the Derrick Henry for the Tennessee Titans.
Oh, okay.
So he's doing push-ups on a band with a chain around his neck and his feet on a ball.
Right.
And I'm like, who cares? Who cares? None of that matters to anything. And that's the type of thing that makes me nuts as a person who sits in a place who helps people perform at a high level. I don't know why we're doing silly things like that. Makes me nuts.
I call it WTF.
Yeah. Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
And for me, it's back to efficiency of time. Like if you have a limited amount of time during the day or week, and a lot of these things are distractions, I think. I mean, that's why I like coming to his facility, because it's core. I can knock it out in theory fairly quickly without gabbing. And know I'm getting highly functional training for my events, and it's with a limited amount of time. So I'm not having to go to the gym, because I go there twice a week. I don't have to go to the gym every day, and it's now down to like an hour and a half, per once or twice per week is way more efficient than having to go to the gym every day, or spending time at home trying to do stuff. And even though I do stuff at home, of course, but it's more time with the family. So more time with the family, the better. The happy with the family, the more that feedback into my running. So there is a kind of a connection there. But I have a couple clients that have just had their new babies. So imagine their time crunch. So instead of them running 70 miles a week, if I can say, you could go to the gym twice a week, hour at a time, and we're going to reduce your mileage down to 40. And I'm sure their wives will be a little more happier with them, spending more time at home with the newborn. So I like the time efficiency of it, because I can feel it on, especially the longer runs. It's time well spent. it's this quality. The quality of it is way greater than just time on feet. Again, as you want to progress in your training and get faster and faster, it depends on your goals. You're going to have to do both. I mean, volume does make for a better runner, but for the majority of runners getting into the sport, having a strength background is way, for me, especially at first with new athletes, having 8 to 12 weeks of strength, I value more than run training, because I know eventually as that transformation takes hold, I can add more running to it without fear of them breaking down, or the ill effects of large volumes, because now their body can handle it, and that makes them more successful in their races, and it makes so it snowballs to a higher probability of success. So that's what I like. So I'm all about, especially at first, foundation of strength, and then we can apply running slowly, and watching clients understand or realize when those things mesh together, and like if they had an injury or they're just something was wrong, but they can feel they're absorbing the runs training more. They're not as banged up when they come home or tired. They're hungry. That's one of the signs I see when the strength training and run training come together. On their feedback to me, like, I want to run more, or they run more. I'm like, hey, what are you doing? Because I feel really good. I feel really strong. I'm like, okay, those things have come together. So let's take it to the next level. So that's what I like seeing.
Sounds like the bliss point, where everything's coming together.
Yeah, opposed to like a lot of that. I mean, when I started marathon training, I've had, you start training, you go online and you get that marathon training, and within 2 months I was injured. So, because I had zero strength. So now applying strength, then applying running, the injuries will be less frequent, we'll say. Things will come up, and it won't be as severe. That's another thing. You might have a severe injury opposed to, something's wrong. Let me examine it or do some extra work on it, or that kind of idea. So there's just a huge benefit just in running, let alone time savings.
So Ron, where can other runners that are either thinking about it or wanting to get into the longer distance running, how can they get in contact with you and your group?
Sundogrunning.com.
Okay.
You can go there to the site and see us and our coaches, or email me at ron@sundogrunning.com
Okay.
directly.
And Ron, how do people get in touch with you? And I know you don't just do running. Maybe tap into what all the things you do help people with, and how do they get in contact with you?
I mean, I have 80-year-old, older woman who lives by herself and, needs to be able to take her own groceries in her house and still clean her house and climb stairs, all the way to 8-year-old phenom golfer who, wants to have longevity in the sport. So like anything in between, anybody injured or looking for any performance and have something missing. maxvelocitypt.com is my website. There's a blog associated with that. You could call me at the clinic. You can email me.